Hey, good afternoon, everybody. Bobby Cleveland here with Executive Director of Oakland Correctional Professionals, along with J.J. Humphreys, representing Humphrey. And today, our special guest, we got a special guest today, Luke Petigrew, who was the warden at Harpe, Joseph Harpe, and he'd been with D.C. Over 19 years before they terminated him for no reason, just decided to get rid of him, and they did.
Hey,
So,
Bob, can I stop for just 1 minute? Can I ask our listeners? There's a song that our listeners need to hear, and it's a song called "Help Is on the Way," and it goes like, "Hang on, help is on the way. I'll be there as fast as I can. Hang on." So would somebody send me in who sings that song, because we're going to make that the theme song, because we are here to help you and we are getting help on the way. So y'all send that in and tell me who sung that song so we can get it up for you. Go ahead, Bob. I just want to get
well, JJ, let's talk a little bit about this beheading we had here at one of our prisons, and all the deaths we've had here in the last few days.
Bob, we're back to killing folks on a regular basis. Harpe has instituted his drop the population plan, and so they're back to killing folks on a regular basis. And the deal is, Luke, you testify for this. Crabtree, you never saw problems like this at Crabtree. Crabtree was one of those you never heard of a killing at. Now you're hearing stuff at Crabtree. Harpe, when you were there at Harpe, did y'all never had a problem at Harpe? I don't remember any problems when you were there.
And it surprised me when I heard out about James Crabtree as well. So it's a bad deal.
But let me ask you this, Luke. When y'all used to have a murder, I thought that we called the outside, like OSBI in, and we called the local sheriff or whatever, that we called outside, so there wouldn't be any kind of confusion that, we messed the investigation up. Am I wrong on that? When did we stop doing that?
I don't know when we stopped doing that, but back in the days, you remember, we didn't have that many murders. We didn't have that many stabbings because
that was a rare thing. Thing.
It's because we had plenty of staff in prison, JJ. He was able to do shakedowns. We were, these 12-hour shifts these days are killing people. And, Harpe doesn't know anything about it. He hasn't walked a mile in their shoes. I have. Started off as a correctional officer. Hats off to these officers that's working 12-hour shifts. I've been working for a sheriff's department, and I was working 12-hour shifts. Had to work 3 of them like to kill me. So hats off to them, what they're doing, and what I'd like to say to them, to the correctional staff and the correctional officers, help is on the way. This director's not going to be there much longer. We can make DOC great again, where people want to come to work and do what we're supposed to be doing.
Well,
shifts.
Hey, I got a suggestion, Harpe. I know you listen to this thing, Harpe. Why don't you go in and put your resignation in? Do everybody a favor. Do the whole world a favor, Director Harpe. Go in, put your resignation in, and recommend this guy right here to be the director. How about that? I guarantee you, watch the world change if you would, because you're doing a terrible job. You do know that you're doing a terrible job. But let me ask you this, Luke, because I don't think people appreciate our case managers. And see what he's doing, he's taking our case managers and he's putting them in all other kind of positions, and they can't do case management. So it's not just we have a shortage of officers, but we have a shortage of all staff. So like at Allen Gamble this week, just yesterday, I think, we had a stabbing and a guy died. Now this guy, from what I understand, because now Harpe has done one thing good, and I will always give credit where credit's due. He's managed to keep everybody from reporting anything. He's the least transparent individual, changes names of things, so it's hard to keep up. So he is good at telling lies. He is good at disguising stuff. You're a liar, Harpe. You're a big fat liar, okay? But here's the deal. He comes in, and this guy comes in from Dick Connors, my understanding, had beat somebody up there and raped somebody, so you got these PREA. This guy's got a history of PREA and raping inmates and causing problems for inmates. They put him down there, and instead of going to OSP and being single celled, they send him to Allen Gamble and put another guy in, and now we have this guy dead. And so again, case managers should have caught that, should have known that. Would you not agree that we're seeing a bunch of this is a problem because case managers can't do their job? Separate people, get separate keys, you get people on the yard with problems. We got extortion going on, nobody working it. Would you agree with that, or what's your thoughts?
Absolutely, I would agree with that. I was a case manager for about 6 months, and you're right. They had me working food service, they had me working laundry, and nobody knows those inmates on their caseload better than the case manager. They're a valuable tool, and they need to be utilized correctly.
Well, it's back to the same old thing. The shortage of people. We got a shortage of staff. It's been mismanaged.
Exactly, and that's
and that's what the problem is. Those case managers ought to be providing information. Hey, this is going on. This is going on. Used to, the inmates come into the case manager and they would say, hey, I got this problem. So-and-so's threatening to kill me. We got to move. We got them changed. Now we're seeing people strung out on dope who it doesn't matter what prison you put them in, because guess what? They can be at one prison for 5 minutes and they're in debt on dope and they're threatening to be killed, or it's following them with all the cell phones. If they leave one prison, they just call down there and say, hey, kill so-and-so because he owes me X number of dollars. So again, these people aren't safe, but nobody's addressing the drug problem because they don't have the staff. They don't have the ability. Hey, let me ask you something, Luke. You've been to court like how many times? You've been to civil service court, right?
Correct. We won civil service court back in May of last year. Went through district court October 31st, and that's kind of where we're at right now on the court system.
So you won 2 civil service. You won 2 of them there. So now, you haven't had anything yet in the state, right?
No, we've actually had our district hearing. We're just
waiting for an answer.
Yeah,
okay.
Waiting for results.
Well, let me ask you this. So basically, if I understand right, you went through 3 hearings.
Correct.
Okay. In those 3 hearings, and when you left, and when they come down and said, hey, get your keys and get out of here, okay, when you left and all the time in between, 2 years, 3 court sentences, or 3 court hearings, has anybody ever told you the real reason why you were fired?
No. We've even asked them in court, and they wouldn't tell us.
Well, let me ask you a question, because this is the rumor, I guess, that Harpe wanted to put all the females that could wear jeans, and you disagreed with him. Not too long after that, you got fired. Is there any truth to that?
I believe 100%.
So that is true.
Yeah, he came down, toured the facility the very first time, and was telling us, "Oh, I need to know everything's going on." And afterwards, we were sitting down, all of us, and I just told him, as director, with all due respect, I said, "I think it's a bad idea to allow staff to wear jeans in prison." I said, 40% of my institution is sex offenders. I said, I'm constantly sending requests to IA for inmates stalking staff, and I personally believe that's the disagreement with him, and I wasn't going to support it. It's the reason why I got terminated.
Yeah, if he didn't.
Now, here's the problem. Now, you disagree with Harpe. I can kind of understand how you got fired now. I mean, you can't disagree with a little narcissist dictator like Harpe. My gosh, everybody knows that even, you know what I'm saying? He's got to have his way. He gets his little feelings hurt. He has his feelings hurt, when he can't get his way. You want me to tell you what the real problem is? And no joke. I joke. Director, I know I joke about you all the time because you are a joke, and it's fun to joke about you. But here's the thing. In all honesty, this is a problem. Listen up, Director, because this is one of your flaws. He is very insecure. He is extremely insecure, and he can't stand to have people in front of other people disagree with him or challenge his authority or challenge his opinion, because he can't defend his opinion because he doesn't know what he's doing. He knows that, and he's very insecure about that. So for real, that's a free analogy.
Well, he doesn't like for anybody who has that's like does his job, and he's like and that was with Petigrew. All of his officers really respected him, and
I agree, Bob. I think the reason he fired you, Luke, may have been that you disagreed with him, but I honestly believe that he was intimidated by you, that people respect you. They do not, Director, nobody respects you. Uh, they respect you, Luke. They had a lot of respect for you. And I would tell you he was intimidated. They use a little word, him and OK, like to say institutional knowledge. I'm surprised they have the intellectual ability to even pronounce that. But here's the deal. The problem is they have no institutional knowledge. And that is what I figured is that people were looking to you on that knowledge and they fired you is what I feel like. And that Gene deal probably was the catalyst, but really it was his fear of you is what I think he fired you for.
Well, one of the problems we're having today too is we're getting a lot of walkaways. We've had a lot of people leave the prison, and it's dangerous. It's dangerous for the society to have these guys out there, or they wouldn't be in prison if they wouldn't.
I think this week, I think they actually classified some of them as actual escapes, didn't it? Luke, did you see that?
No, I haven't seen it. I don't understand these walkaways because as well as I do, if you walk away from a minimum, that's an escape. You go to file charges on that individual at that county, they file escape from a penal institution. There's not such thing as a walkaway. Community corrections, halfway houses, correct, but it's a misconduct. It's not street charges. This director has no business being where he's at. He needs to go back and manage American Airlines or something. I said, this uniform that he bought, JJ, the last director that wore a uniform, James Saffold. He was a correctional.
James had been an officer. James could wear the uniform. You know what I'm saying?
Him and his top three.
Military. I think James was military too.
Yes, he was. His top three would come to a facility each month. I know because the Mary Livers relieved me from my unit as a correctional officer and said, stick around, go hang out with your buddies. I'm working the unit. The officers laughed when they seen this director in his 5-star uniform. He's done nothing to earn that. He's never walked a fence line in the snow. He's never counted a unit. That was disrespectful to all the COs. It was disrespectful to me, being a CO, to come out and spend $2,000-$3,000 on a 5-star general for it. It's a joke. He's a joke.
He is a joke. And the deal is here's what's funny, Luke, is not only is the Department of Corrections doing that, but everywhere I go in the state or especially in Oklahoma City, around these other agencies, these legislators. Now, they won't laugh to his face, but I'll guarantee you they will tell you he's a joke. Now, he's going to say, well, JJ, everybody talks about you too. And they do, Director. They talk that I'm a troublemaking little stirring up SOB. And guess what? I cop to every bit of it. Every bit of it I will cop to because it's the honest truth. And you ain't seen nothing. I'm fixing to amp it up. Get ready, Director. I'm amping up the troublemaking. So, it's unbelievable that he would put on that suit and disgrace himself. But he ain't got enough sense to know that people are laughing at him when he's doing it. You know what I mean?
They're going to come out and say I'm a disgruntled employee. I want the public to know, the people that's watching, I'm not disgruntled. And as soon as we get some new leadership, I'm coming back. I didn't give my whole life, 23 years, to the Department of Corrections to go out the way I went out. As JJ said earlier, helps on the way. I want to tell all the COs, all the case managers out there, just hang in there, do the best you can, helps on the way. We got a plan.
Luke, and here's the deal, what people don't understand. A lot of people think they try to make me out to be disgruntled and I'm mad at them is why. And what a lot of people don't understand is you spend 20 years with people and you do the job 20 years. And then I went on and did almost a similar thing, working with the same groups for 8 years. So you do it 28 years. And guess what? It's in your blood. It's in your blood. My son just became a police officer. He called me the other day. Did they handle this situation right? And we talked it through. Guess what? After I got through talking through that situation, I was like, dang it, I missed go. I would love to be able to go back out there, I'd go work a beat. I'd do whatever. I'd go work in prison. I enjoyed it. I love it. I mean, that's my life. You know what I'm saying? That's a big part of my life. And again, I love you guys out there in the Department of Corrections. I love the Department of Corrections. We can make it the best place in the United States to show everybody how it's done. Only problem is right now we're the biggest disaster I've ever seen in my 35 years of doing it.
Well, talk about, there were several people that was murdered this past week. Am I wrong? Was it 2 or 3?
I know you had a murder at Allen Gamble, so that guy was stabbed. Again, he was put in a cell that he should have never been put in. If we had case management, and I'm not trying to talk bad about the case manager, but and again, they may be twice the work. I don't know. My understanding, maybe that case manager has this problem kind of frequently. I might want to check into that. But also Crabtree, where we never see anything happen at Crabtree. Bob, I got told that we had another guy stabbed 14 times there at Allen Gamble that never came out. And that's just like, the other day on that all-call, I got to get it right, Director. You're all-call. So here's the deal. On the all-call, he came out saying they'd only had 7 assaults on staff since January. Now, Bob, we did a interim study. Luke, I think you was at that interim study that we did, wasn't you? Back in October, didn't you come into the Capitol and share with us in October? Yeah. So we did one, and I did a J.J. Humphrey check on how many assaults I could find for the month of October, and I found 17 that I was able to find myself, which there had to be more. I can't find every one of them, but I found 17 in the month of October. Again, we see the murders and stuff look like they're going up on the rise. They're back, nothing slowed down. And yet what we see is him coming out and saying 7 assaults. I would say that if you look that word up, I think it's under BS. I won't say it, I'm tempted to say bullshit, but I'm not going to say that, because that'd be ugly. But I would put that in that category and say the director is again lying about that. So
that's like that 80%.
Yeah, that's because he's got the 80%. He said that, as well as now, Luke, you're going to love this one. Listen to this. So he sends out a survey. Now, we don't know how many employees they have because they lie. But let's say they got 36. They should have somewhere around 3,600 employees. He got 100 employees back. Now, I'm not real good at math, but you know what I'm saying? That ain't even, Director, you ain't even hardly getting it. Is that 2%? I don't even know. I'd have to get out and figure it real quick. Less than 2, I think. But anyways, he got a really poor response. He got 100 people back on it. And I think all of them were from OMES. Anyways, they said they didn't like him. They even the 100 that would answer it. So the 100 are probably people who are probably in. But they said that they liked their immediate supervisor, but couldn't stand the executive, AKA that's you, Director. Okay, but here's the thing. He comes out and he says he's going to come back around to all the institutions. Now, you remember when he hired in? You remember what his plan was? He was going to go to all the institutions. So now, 3 years later, he's decided he react that plan since he failed on that before. But
yeah,
now
he told us in an executive staff meeting that he had an airplane he was going to fly into him, or a helicopter or something like that.
Helicopter. I think he said that on this one too. He's back telling that lie. When a lie's good, stick with it. That's what the devil does. He does the same old thing because it works. If the bass are hitting on the green lure, stick with the green lure. You know what I'm saying? So if one lie works, keep with it. So he's back to telling, I'm going all over. But now here's what's funny. He said, we're going to come and we're going to make staff the priority. We're going to make staff the priority. And we want to hear you. We want to hear your problems. But if you complain and if you're negative, we're going to have to write you up on your PMP. Now, how will you go around asking people to tell you what's wrong, and then in the same breath say, but we're going to write you up and you won't get a raise if you tell us. Now, how is that not insane? Is that not crazy?
Well, this whole new PMP that he created is a joke.
It is a joke. I mean, the whole deal is you do what we say, and if you're in our clique, you get a 5% raise.
Exactly.
And if you don't do what we say, or if you even look crossways, guess what? Hey, you remember who did? You remember we used to be under a system called Merrit protection. You remember that?
Yes.
Okay. We went to a system called the civil service. I can't remember the crazy whoever come. Oh, that was Director Harpe that come up with the name of that, wasn't it? Oh, yeah, that would explain why the name's so crazy. Okay, so anyways, he was the creator. Did y'all know that he was the creator of civil service? So you guys out there listening, listen to me. He destroyed your Merrit protection. If you want to know who destroyed it, Harpe was the one who created all that, destroyed it. Okay. Now, for the last, me and Bob went and fought, and I ended up voting for that because Bob, be a witness right here. We were told that if I'd go ahead and vote for that they would let us in, and that we would have a lot of say-so how that new system works.
Before it went into effect, we would have a lot of say-so in it, what we don't like and what's there. We'll listen to you. That never happened.
Bob, we went over there. They didn't hear one word, not one word. We had lawyers in there. And not just our lawyers. We had other lawyers in there. Gary James was in there. All these people, nothing. We got nothing. So we went about trying to change that. Okay. And I've worked hard the last year or two to try to get that changed. And so we started a bill last year that ran into a roadblock. But this year, I'm not on it because Director Harpe has made sure, I'll see you in court over this. He has made sure to work with my leadership to get me shut down. And we're going to have a lot of fun with that, I can tell you. So here's the deal. I have not got on the bill because I'm a little hot up there right now. So I'm working behind the scenes. So here's the deal. We're working on this bill to get a bunch of the employees, not all employees, because we're starting with officers, because when officers have to enforce arrests, make arrests, fight people, there's a lot more to it. You can't just walk in with the little paperwork. You got to have all the facts. So we're wanting to take the officers out of this civil service and start their own Merrit protection back. This is a good step for all employees because we can get that moving. We can get y'all moved over hopefully later. Okay, now get this, Bob. We're up there the other day. The bill's moving pretty good. And Harpe sends one of his little liars, one of his little minions over there to lie. And they go in and tell the guy, which is one of the leadership, they go in and tell one of the leadership, DOC doesn't want to be in this.
Right.
Well, guess what? Guess what, Bob? It ain't DOC. They're the ones we're fighting against. It's the employee. It's the employees. And
He doesn't care about the employees.
No, he hates the employees. He's tried to kill the association. Y'all need to know Harpe has attacked the OCP like you would not believe. And I hear, well, y'all's not involved in this. That's because we are fighting. We have a full-out war, and we're fighting him to make sure. But Bob, he sends this minion, this liar over there to tell a lie that, oh, no, we don't want to be in that. And thank goodness some other people were like, hey, it ain't them. You need to talk to the association. Hey, Humphrey's been working on this, and Humphrey's the one trying to, they called me up. That guy I get along with. We go in there.
Well, Highway Patrol's done a good job.
Highway Patrols did do a great job. The association, and guys, if you're listening, the Highway Patrol has a great association because all of them are in it. They can afford to send people up there and work it all the time. We could have a stronger association. Luke, would you not agree with that?
Absolutely. I mean, the bottom line is, on DOC side and leadership, they're not professionals. You know, If OHP, take my case for instance, where I went through their civil service division, an administrative law judge ruled in my favor. I got a documentation that says for DOC to put me back to work and all back pay. Well, if that would have happened at OHP, guess what? That person would have went back to work, they'd paid him the back pay and be a great employee. You know, the bottom line is somebody's going to have to hold this director accountable. District court, Supreme Court, somebody's going to have to hold. He believes he's above the law. It's been 2 years.
You know, and I used to think that, Luke. I used to think that. You know what? I'm scratching my head wondering. Check it out. Bob, Luke, you just listen to me and think, is this possible? Every case, and can I get a witness? This is a bunch of cases because it ain't just you. There's a bunch of people that he has fired. Bob, he's been firing people this week like it's
one a day. One a day. I guess he sent something must have went out to get people fired. We got to spend money, try to get OCP to break them.
Oh, here's the deal. And so
JJ, here's the thing though. We need to have a policy that he's going to appeal everything. He's going to appeal. Why are we wasting the court's time, costing money, wasting the court's time, and he's going to appeal? He appeals.
Okay, let me ask you this. When he appeals, what does he do?
What do you mean? What does he do?
Farms it out. He farms it out. Now get this.
Oh, yeah, he got some lawyers, some high-paid lawyers to go in there and represent him in court, which they're not doing any good job either because they're losing the ones I've seen that they've lost that round, so they're going to appeal again.
Well, here's the deal. They can't win. They got it on appeal, and there's nothing. What's to appeal? In appeal, you can't retry it. You got to say something was done wrong. There wasn't nothing done wrong. What are you going to appeal? I mean, but here's the deal, Bob. You said it. He goes and hires outside. So here we pay this general counsel and director. You're getting cheated by that gal. I will tell you, you're getting cheated badly by old Hawkins. Badly. You need to fire her, kick her down the road because she's terrible. But here's the thing. He goes and he gets outside counsel. Oh, by the way, director, I'm going to check. Is that actually legal? Are you getting permission to do that? But here's the thing. Is it possible that he contracts with law firms because he's giving his buddies? Because we're talking a lot of money. $500 an hour. Did two show up on your case?
Two showed up on mine. We pulled them up. One was $5.50 an hour. Another one was $7.50 an hour.
Holy. So hey, we're talking more than $1,000 right there in that 1 hour.
Correct.
Did they have a bunch of paperwork?
They didn't bring what they were supposed to.
They had no
idea what was going on.
But here's what I'm getting at. So we're talking 1,000 something an hour. They brought in paperwork. How many hours did they have invested in that paperwork, you think?
Exactly.
So guess what? So he's giving his old buddies, here's you. And if you got 26 or 30 of those cases, and hey, there's about 30 that I know of.
You know why he's doing that?
Taxpayers' dollars.
Yeah, it's not his money. If it's his money, he wouldn't be doing it. It's the taxpayers. It's our money he's wasting. And I cannot believe the governor or the attorney general would allow it to be wasting the taxpayers' money. It's not only wasting the money, you're wasting the court's time.
But here's where I'm at, Bob. It looks like a racket to me. I smell a racket. Okay.
Well,
so
Judge, I never thought about it like that, but I think you're probably right.
If me and you are good friends and I go, Bob, I can get you a bunch of cases. Bob, I can get you all the cases in the world. Probably ain't going to win them, but man, we can pay you a couple of $1,000s per case. And if we can pay you $10,000, $15,000 per case and we can get you about 100 cases, that turns in pretty good money at the end of the day. Director, call us and let us know if we're on the right trail. Don't make us go down the old trail we don't waste our time on. Call us and tell us if you're cheating the taxpayers and doing something like that.
It's pretty clear he's cheating the taxpayers, and I don't understand why a governor of Oklahoma would allow this to continue like this.
Oh, the governor, I can tell you why, because they big buddies is why. I'll guarantee you that's all. I mean, anybody that worked their salt, if they had Harpe working for them, would get out a big, Granny used to make you go cut your own switch. if Harpe worked for me, that's what I'd tell him. I'd say, Harpe, you go out there and find a tree and go cut me a big switch, because I'm going to whoop you before you get out of here. That's terrible. I mean, Harpe is disgraceful. I mean, honestly, this is the biggest disaster. He's the disaster king, the director of disaster. I've never seen anything like it in my lifetime, as bad as it is right now. And
JJ, the people who he's fired this week would have normally, under normal circumstances, would have been a letter and maybe a day off. But he's fired people, and he's wanting to, hey, look at the money he can make there. Cost everybody money. He doesn't care about his money because he's getting it from the taxpayers. Somebody's going to get wise to it somewhere, sometime, that knows what's going on. We'll look into it. But to go and spend our taxpayer dollars the way he's spending them, is a crime. It's just criminal.
It is. Go ahead.
What's your thought on the probation and parole? Is he trying to destroy it as well? I've had 3 different probation officers call me this week. They're scared one of them is going to have a job. They're going to be able to carry a gun, put them behind a desk as the case managers. I mean, what are you hearing there?
And Luke, how in the world, boy, I thank you for we got so much going on that I forgot about my own people's probation and pro. Because I love you probation pro people. I was there for quite some time. Listen, Luke, I've been around for about 35 years. I think this is about the 3rd time that I personally witnessed a director who generally, what you find in these directors, they're anti-law enforcement. So you generally have a guy that's anti-law enforcement when they go to trying to disarm our legal branch and our law enforcement people out there in the community. So here we have another disaster where he's trying to disarm and trying to turn our probation officers into case managers. And again, what he does it secretly. Nobody really knows about this. Nobody's hearing about his little scheme there in Oklahoma City, putting people over here, making them case managers, and then coming out and going, oh, this works greatly. Well, how do you know it works greatly? You ain't done it for about a month. And then again, whose records are you taking? Your own. It works greatly because you say it works greatly. That's insane. You can't believe a word he says. So here he's trying to disarm officers. But you want me to tell you the difference, Luke? The difference in when we were there and we had problems, and the difference between when I was a probation officer and they came and tried to take our guns. Here's the dramatic, and I want you guys listening to hear this. The difference between me and you guys was we wouldn't let it happen. We got together and we formed FOP. And if you want to look at, you want to go talk to the guys like Ramsey and Cecil and all these guys that started and who began with OCP. You go look at the founders of OCP. And again, these guys weren't hating anybody. They just come in and formed an association. And honestly,
the director of the prisons helped them. They were for it.
But here's what was cool: when something was wrong, if the director did get sideways, they held him accountable to it. You know what I'm saying? They come to him and said, "Hey, no, our association." And guess what? That director would change. Hey, even Director Crow, we were different. Director Crow, I had some odds with, but Bob, you can testify that for 3 years while Director Crow was there, or for however long he's there, hey, how many times we pick up the phone? Now, he might be mad at you and I might have to call, or he might be mad at me and you'd have to call, but I'll guarantee you one of us could make a call to him, and 99% of the stuff that we had, we were able to informally work out, and the stuff we didn't, we went after it, but we still worked out most of that,
Well, we worked after it. I mean, we worked on it. But the big thing about that, at that time, we had people who common sense.
Yeah, he was a leader.
We had Justin Ferris. I was working with common sense. He'd look at it, and sometimes he agreed with me, sometimes he didn't. But at least we had to do it. But here's the thing that got me. He told me that he didn't like OCP. He doesn't like unions. And he can, anybody's got a problem, they can come to him. I said, well, the whole purpose of OCP was so the members would have a voice that could be heard. They don't need a voice. They've got me. they can come to me anytime. My door is always open. Well, you go to him, and if you say something negative and he gets mad at you, he'll either fire you or run you off. He didn't have an open door policy.
Did we not come down and visit your prison? I came down to your prison, walked all the way around prison, just had a great visit, could do that anytime I wanted to, didn't feel like I needed, I'd call you and pick up the phone, but if I just showed up, there was no problem. I could show up at your office. I could walk right into your office and say, is Luke here? If he wasn't, can I talk to the deputy warden? Can you get me somebody up here, security, and take me around? I want to look at such and such. I'd like to talk to inmate such and such. Was that a problem?
Never a problem.
I cannot get in. They'll say, oh, JJ can get in. You call and say, hey, can I see? If I walked up, I'll guarantee you I'm not going to get to see. Or if I do, I'll have to sit there for 25 hours. I can make a call and try to make prearrangements, and it's a nightmare. It's a nightmare. Lawyers are calling me, can't get in. Investigators can't get in. It's totally shut out. And again, it's wrong.
He doesn't believe in transparency. That's absolutely factual. That's why we don't ever hear about anything. He's got everything hidden.
Well, let me ask you this, Luke. I got a call the other day that they had a gas leak at a female institution, Eddie Ward. And I was like, okay. Week later, they still got the gas leak at Eddie Warrior, and it ain't taken care of. Now, that's what I'm being told, Director. That's what I'm being told, and I suspect it's true. But here's the deal. It's a gas leak. You going to let a gas leak go on at a prison for that long? Am I wrong in that, Luke, that would be some serious. We hear this stuff, and because it comes in the same week where somebody gas leak or inmate got his head cut off. Which one you going to hear? Inmate gets head cut off. Okay? Nobody's paying attention to this gas leak. Now, a week goes by. I guess they finally got it fixed there or got it shut down. But I'm being told now it's going to take a month. It's going to be into April before they get hot water going back. And I forget if they got electricity or not. Does that not sound insane to you? Is that legal? Can you expound on that? That sounds like there's a major problem there.
Yeah, it sounds like something's messed up pretty bad up there. I worked up there for 4 years as a deputy warden. They got maintenance crews that knows that facility, and that should be no excuse. Not having gas, not having hot water. Those people are trained. They know what to do up there. So,
not meet some code. Do you not? Have it. Listen. I could take a cold shower. Taking a cold shower don't mean nothing to me. I stayed in a place one time. I took a year's worth of cold shower. Don't mean nothing. Just hurry. It makes the water bill go down. You'll speed them showers up a little bit. But the thing about it is, a house full of women. How many women are up there? Is it 700, 800,000? How big?
800 with the community program.
So we're talking 800,000 women not taking cold showers.
Well, it's violating their civil rights.
Well,
we were to provide hot water between the temperatures of 110 and 130. And there's extenuating circumstances. Cold weather, bad, may be out 2-3 days, but no longer than that.
How many showers a week is an inmate supposed to have? If
they're in the restricted housing or the SHU, they're required 3 showers a week if they're in their lockdown.
What if they're not?
They can take as many as they want to.
Take one every day.
Right. Open dorm bays like Eddie Warrior is. They can take them every day.
Yeah.
Well, that is, to me, it just blows my mind. We're constantly getting water issues there at Dick Connors. Lexington's had water issues. Granite's had water issues. It just blows my mind that you can have a month not getting the problem fixed when you should have maintenance people, like you said, the whole 9 yards. It's unbelievable. And when you start looking at that, you're having people beheaded, you're having people stabbed, you're having, so two at Allen Gamble, of what I heard, one stabbed 14 times, one dead, was stabbed yesterday, I think. Jackie Brandon, I'm not sure. I thought I heard something at Harpe again. Have you heard something at Harpe again, Bob?
I haven't heard anything.
Y'all hadn't heard anything, so I may be wrong on that. But again, here's all of this stuff going on.
Well, they Harpe had two deaths in the past few weeks.
Yeah, in the recent, but I don't think this week. I think that was last week. So they're way overdue. But that's what I'm saying. When you start adding that stuff up, and then you start talking about the firing of employees, the going over to the Capitol and trying to keep employees, that's the hostile. Luke, see if you agree with me on this. Would you call what's going on with our employees right now a hostile employee, an environment?
Exactly. Yeah. I'd call it bullying as well. Threatening.
Right.
They're scared to death. I mean, I've been told by some of the COs that I personally know and talk to, they've been told if they leak any information out whatsoever, they're fired. So I call them on their personal phones, everything else.
I got to talk to Latoya since she sent me out a letter. I sent a letter out to them because I was told that they sent, I had an employee the other day tell me that they sent an email out quite a while ago saying that if you're talking to a legislator, that you will be fired. And then I had another guy tell me that they were personally told that if they were caught talking to me, they would get fired. I'd like to know, Director, did you send something out saying if people talk to me that they'd get fired? Because I think that's against the law. I'll check the statute and get back to y'all. What was that old gal that used to work for Biden? I'll double back. We're going to double back on that. I'll double back around, get you a statute, and advise you if you're breaking another law.
Well, JB, that happened to us a couple of years ago, maybe a little longer than that. I think you were trying to research the amount of correctional officers, and you was calling the facilities, talking to the warden. You called me. I told you how many officers I had, and about 30 minutes later, I got a phone call from a higher pay grade than me that said if you ever called back at that facility, not to answer any questions and send them to them. That was spoken to me over the phone. So you're exactly right.
Yeah. And again, that's illegal. I got to check that, but I think that's illegal. And again, why if you got good numbers, Director, why would you worry about? But now I will tell you that was done even by the previous administration. They were a little secretive on their numbers. They didn't want to give out good numbers. It took us one time 3 months to. And here's the deal. Let me tell you this: the difference between Crow and this disaster is a night, and I mean like pitch dark with no moon and the hottest 110-degree day. That's the difference between Crow and this administration. And Crow was guarded on his numbers quite a bit, but at the same time, this guy, you can't get a straight answer. You can't get. I would not believe nothing if this guy told me it was daylight outside. Me and him was standing outside, and he told me it's daylight. I'd have to call Bobby Cleveland to get it confirmed. You know what I'm saying? I'd have to say I don't believe it.
Well, JJ, let's talk a little bit about that DOC up there with telling everybody that don't put us in that. Don't put us in that. The DOC doesn't want to be in that. That passed 29-1, if I'm not mistaken.
Out of committee, yeah.
29-1.
I don't think, Bob, I'm pretty certain that you're going to see that thing pass out of the House pretty. I don't think we're going to have a problem getting that out of the House.
Basically starting another merit protection back for that, for us, as well as a highway patrol.
And again, I give full credit to the Highway Patrol Association. And again, here's what I want to tell people. That's what an association, if you have a strong leader, so if you have a strong director, Luke, make sure I'm telling this. If you were director, Luke, would you not want a strong association that could go to the Capitol and not you, them go to the Capitol separate from you, representing the employees and say, this is what we want. Now, if you have a good, strong association, they work with your director and they work in tandem. So the director will say, hey, I'd like to see this bill get passed. They'll send their people up to work. But then the association says, yeah, we like that. That's a good deal. So now both of them go work together. And that's normally what you see. Now, every once in a while, the director of OHP will come up with something the association don't want. Or every once in a while, if you have a poor commissioner of OHP, you will see the association kind of going back at them but that association holds them accountable. And I will tell you, you find out if you have a good association, they're probably stronger than the commissioner themselves because they are pretty stout. They get stout, they get respected. Now, that's what association you need in DOC, but guess what? Leadership doesn't want that because they understand if you had a strong association, this clown would be gone.
Well, JJ, go back to when they was locking the people up in the showers. You sent a email to the director that it was going on. He sent one back to you, said it wasn't going on. He knows.
Mm-hmm.
Now,
well,
either he lied, he lied, he knew it, he lied, or he didn't know.
Well, here's what's funny. And again, Director, I want to take a little second to explain something to you. You think all this is by coincidence and that things just happen, and they don't, because you're conniver, you make things happen. Okay, so here's the deal. When I sent that letter to you and asked you, did this going on? I did that because guess what? You tried to insulate yourself from everything so nothing can touch you. But if you'll remember, I handed you that rape investigation hand to hand. I handed it to you. And y'all failed to investigate it. You got with our leadership and stopped all of the subpoenas, and you didn't bring your witnesses. So all of that's going to come out. I send you a letter on this shower deal. You say it didn't happen. Now, all that was in the email. We got that, by the way. We send that over, and you say it didn't happen. And then a couple of weeks later, Oklahoma Watch runs a report that it did happen, and they report all of it. Then you do a 102-page investigation saying it didn't happen. Only deal, I have all the records saying it did happen, and then you come out and say, I can't have any more records because I released records. But Director, human rights violations must be released. I have a duty. Luke, am I right? If you knew a human rights violation, massive human rights violation was going on, do you have a duty to tell somebody?
Absolutely, by law.
Now, let me ask you this. See if we agree. If you locked an inmate in a 2x2 cell and you weren't giving them ample water or ample food, and you had no bathroom breaks, and you left them in there for days at a time for punishment, and you come and say it's for punishment, and then let's say that some employees show up who actually know what they're supposed to do, and they let these people out, and they let them out because they say this would be human rights violations, and you could end up in court on this. We're not going to take part in it. And then the brass comes down and says, nope, you're going to put them back in there because they're in there for discipline. They're in there for punishment. Stick them back in. And now these guys are having to give trash bags for these people to go to the bathroom in. Would you classify that as a human rights violation?
Absolutely.
On a scale from 1 to 10, where would you put it on a human rights violation?
A 10.
So here's the deal, Director. A guy right here who knows prisons and knows all of this very, very well. One of the more educated on it, has worked every position: correctional officer, case manager, deputy warden. Did I leave any out?
Unit manager.
Oh.
Yeah, I worked them all.
Okay, he's well-rounded. We have a well-rounded individual, as well as law enforcement, worked law enforcement as well. So here's the deal. Do you think, Director, that you're not in trouble because human rights, can I get a witness, Luke? Human rights can't put you in jail, right? If you regularly, I mean, if you intentionally violate that, and then you write a 102-page report to lie and cover it up, do you think that shows intent?
Dude,
We get back to the same old thing. DOC investigates themselves. Now, how are you ever going to get a fair evaluation when you're investigating yourself?
But here's the problem with that, Bob. They do investigate themselves, and I've screamed that for a while. But now we're going to come out and show why I've been screaming. I wasn't screaming, Director, because common sense tells you when JJ investigates himself, he always gets off. Common sense tells you that, Director. Why I was screaming was because I was waiting for a year to come by, and I was screaming so that one of these days that people are going to find out that I was sitting on a bunch of information that shows not only did you know human rights violations occurred, but that you purposely sent an investigation over to cover it up, and that the investigators lied for you at the behest of you, created a 102-page lie. That's bad, but here's the problem. I can prove that you had about this much documentation saying all of that was a lie, and it is written out so clearly that anybody, it is written out that we let these people out because it was a human rights violation. We were told to put them back in there for punishment, and we had to get and again, it ain't one of them, it ain't two of them. Their supervisor called and was, because it turned into a big ruckus, their supervisor called, and while the supervisor is on with the brass from that prison, somebody in the background's yelling, "That's right, they are putting them in showers. That's right." That's in that documentation. Not just the officers, but the supervisor. And you had it, and you lied, and you created a lie on it. I can show every bit of it, Director. Human rights violation. Now, you fix to get sued, and you think this little lawsuit's about open records. It's not about open records, dummy. Listen. It's not about that, okay? It is about that you went and intentionally covered up some of the most massive human rights violations. This is the stuff people are going to get locked up on. And again, if we can't see Oklahoma, I'm fixing to put a little national. You may be surprised at who I know nationally, Director. We
Hey,
go.
JJ, I want to ask Luke, in his years in the facilities, have you ever locked somebody in a shower stall for days, hours?
no.
At all?
The only time we locked them in the showers when it was time for them to shower, because you got to lock the door behind them while they're showering.
Yeah.
But no.
Well, yeah, I mean, here's the deal that, at lockdowns, they'll get them out, they'll lock them in the shower. When they're done showering, they unlock them. And again, if something's going on, if we got a fight going on, it may take them an hour to go unlock them. If we got something on, that's understandable. That would be understandable if it took 4 hours. If we had a major something going on, they're in there 4 hours. I don't think anybody would argue that. But when you leave them in there for 9 days,
JJ, we got to shut her down, but go ahead and finish that thought.
well, I just want to say that it's been a pleasure. We need Luke back on here next week. Luke, my thing is, before we get off here, you're not just in this lawsuit. You're in another lawsuit, right?
Correct.
And again, that was multiple people fired by this person, right?
Correct.
And so again, it's not just this one case, and Luke is coming on and standing up for you guys. But would you say, Luke, that these people need to join? What I'm encouraging everybody, let's get the association back. Let's get strong. Would you say that would be the right move? Knowing what you've been through right now, would you say people need to join OCP?
Absolutely. OCP is a good thing. And hadn't been that long ago, I was working on the other side. I worked a lot with Mr. Cleveland. He would come down, show some concerns, supporting the person that received the discipline. We'd sit down and talk about it. And I think I told you that one. I just wanted him to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
And he was honest with me, slapped him on the hand, turned him loose. I've seen what you guys do from both sides now. And, I can tell all the listeners today that, that JJ Humphreys and Mr. Bobby Cleveland is here for the best of your benefits.
Well, I
Well,
hope people are listening because, again, we need, and again, I'm looking for an association that is powerful, that we come together and get involved with this thing, and let's represent DOC employees and not let Harpe's a bad representation. Start representing yourself. Let's get together and start this association back strong, and let's stand up against this bully. Quit letting him bully you on that yard. Stand up against the bully. He's nothing but a bully. That's all he is.
Well, I want to thank Luke Petigrew, our warden Petigrew. I want to thank him for being our guest today and being part of the show. And JJ, I appreciate you, your evaluation and comments.
Yeah, I'm a little radical today. I'm a little stirred up, Bob.
You did a good job.